And now I got the cable. No cable, no show. And something for Cuba. You remember that? Oh, yeah. What? This is not that funny. This is super cool.
No, I'm that old.
We are young. We are young.
We need second mic.
Dolby surround recording.
Yeah.
Two mics.
Yeah. One is for camera, second is for the speakers.
Ah, so advanced technology, you see. So, why I'm here? This is a crazy story. I like Sun, but okay, I'm freelancer since 1997, and I work with Java since 1995, and I really like Sun. And from time to time, I did for Sun trainings. Sun was a cool company, so this is like exactly. And by the way, I'm not a speaker. You can ask me questions. I like the questions why we need Java if we have vibe coding, whatever. These are the best questions. So ask me whatever you like. I'm a freelancer. Never worked for a company, actually. Always had fun since 1997. And right now I'm programmer, developer, consultant, or whatever. And back then, I like Sun, and they asked me, there is a NetBeans World Tour. Can you participate? And I said, oh no, world tour, I have no time. There was like, Tokyo, Hawaii, or whatever. And I found Gdansk. And I said, Gdansk is like 1 hour flight. It's like, I do world tour in Gdansk. And they say, really? Yeah, no problem. And they said, but Gdansk, you also have to do Poznan. And so I flew to Poznan, and the Sun people had said, you don't have to book the flight. They booked a BMW. And they drove to Gdańsk, and the driver was a Polish guy. I think we will not survive, is what I can tell you. This was like, this was a drive from hell, right? So I delivered a talk, and during this talk, there were people like who now are managers in Posen. They initiated the Geekon conference. So like everything started there. This is like a piece of Polish history almost. And Kuba, who was the initiator, so maybe without him there would be no JUGs in Poland, so it seems like. And I was Java 1 last week, and I still met the guys, and we had a chat about that. So, and now the funny story, but we have no time for funny stories, maybe afterwards. You won't believe, like 5 years later, back then there was no iPhone, so we had like a Nokia phone, but there was like me, one guy from Prague, the Polish guy, but he drove like crazy, and one guy from Munich. And we had no idea how to get from Posen to Gdańsk. And the Hertian said, we have to follow a blue line, but he had no data plan. So we only saw the road, and a dot. And we screamed left, right. But I remember it took maybe 1 hour to go out of Poznan. So we had circles around Poznan. It's like, if you go a little bit slower, maybe the chances higher than we leave Poznan at one point of time. And then, no, I have to drive. Those were like races, like, okay. And 10 years later, I said, I can come again, or 5 years later. And the pilot says, it's not a problem. I was in here on the road to Gdańsk. There's a little bit of fog, so we cannot land in Gdańsk. But we found another city, Poznan, and I said, Poznan again? And buses will come immediately, and you will arrive on time. And I say, no way. The guy back then, Karol was his name. He drove like a maniac, and we came here at night, right? So I will never make it. And I asked as a taxi driver, the last in the queue, say, can you drive me to Poznan? Because the professor is waiting. And he said, maybe, but I never left Poznan. You have to help me. And I say, okay, let's go. And this story is unbelievable. The guy talked to on the highway, there was like a boxes for the toll. He left the car, he went to the box and say, hello, give me a ticket. It's like, look, there is no one inside. We have to pay and we get a ticket. Then he asked me, can we refuel the car? It's like, it's not the question whether we can, we must. If I look, this was stories like that, so you won't believe. Okay, so now enough. Now back to LLMs. So this is where I didn't want it. This is
the mic is mouse. Okay, can you switch this?
No.
I have
Water. Ah, okay, they have 3 mics. This is the first time. I never had a... This is very good. You see, this is... I said yes to recording, and now it doesn't matter. It won't be recorded anyway.
No.
But I can speak already, right? This is like the
Yeah.
starting.
Yes, because this noise or this mic.
Yeah. Oh,
This mic.
this mic. So it's like Rolling Stones. Oh.
Or like this. Which better?
I like this first. Never had this, and then we can switch for different experience.
Second.
2. We can have 3. Go here. So I mean, so why? Just go. What do you have? Give me all your mics, and we do the session. You can hear me, right? Perfect. So you see the
Okay.
yeah.
It's good.
Yeah, very good. So everyone is happy.
Cool.
You also hear me. This is the greatest guy. Kudos to him. He invited me to BCQ conference in December, and he's actually a Python guy. He loves Java, which is a very good attitude, you know. So, thank you for doing this.
I have also story because they said that Adam Bien is the cool guy, champions from Java.
Uh-huh.
And okay, I check, search on LinkedIn,
Yeah.
and write to you.
Yeah.
But I thought you was Polish man because you have Adam name.
Yeah.
Yeah. And okay, I said.
I'm the first child of my father, so this is Adam. Yeah.
And he said, okay, I can come to Gdańsk. I was there before, or something. It's no problem for me. I said, okay. So Adam is here, and I don't know that.
He asked me what you need, and I asked, yeah, coffee and HDMI cable.
Yeah.
But and 3 mics the next time. They will say, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So now we can start. Nice official start of the session. So why I'm doing this? Because we cannot escape LLMs. This is the truth. Whether you like it or not, no one cares. We have to use them all, or at least say something reasonable. But saying I'm writing better code than LLMs, the time is over, I think. And you become jobless not because of LLM. This is a story because someone else using LLMs. But what I found out accidentally, this is the talk about, that the LLMs are very good with Java, extremely good. And this is what I'll show you today. This is the only thing which I'll show and explain a little bit why it is the case, because it was not clear to me. And I prepared some slides to explain what happens, because I did it once without slides, Java User Group Munich, and after 3.5 hours, I still got questioned, this is impossible, why it works that well. So maybe I do the slides very quickly, and then code whatever you like, right? No, whatever you like, something which, and also judge me not about the speed, what I write, how I interact with the LLM, and the quality of the resulting code. This is the most important thing today. Not that, you know, we generate something, this works, but how this is generated, and is it good or not good? This is actually the point for today. Okay, cool. So this is after 18 years, and this was me. And what's interesting, the Java is 6. What I show you today, we could actually, if I find, pick the old project and migrate to Quarkus and proceed. This is actually the tool story. So for 20 years, I actually do exactly the same thing with different titles, basically, right? So now, okay, these slides. So this is fun. AX Industries just links to my stuff. I only use Java in the backend, never use something different, and I don't get why Python is popular. This is but I'm not saying as a Java developer. It's just I'm wondering because I don't understand Python that well, and installing Python is challenge itself. If you compare it how easy Java to install is. I have now, I think, 2 Python on my machine, and if I start Claude or whatever, it always asks me, would you like to install Python? If I say yes, it will install, and the next time I get the same questions. I think I install more Pythons than the Python developer, and it still doesn't work. So, so YouTube channel, and this is the shorts, and they started actually, you know the JDD conference in Krakow? So they asked me, can you record a a screencast? And I hated the promotion. And then shorts came out. So I go, this is not bad. 1 minute, I do it for you. And this was the very first short. So hi, I'm Adam, and I will speak at the JDD conference. And this was so easy. So I started. And then, at the Twitter and everywhere, people said Java is crap. We have, it is verbose. So I did, okay, what they said in Twitter is not true, because in 30 seconds I can hack it down. And since then, there were 1,200 shorts. So the beginning was, again, JDD. Podcast also about Vaadin. Where is Martin? Martin, I have one question to you about Vaadin. What Vaadin means, the word Vaadin, you know that?
It's a female of reindeer.
Oh, very good. So this is an expert. This is yeah, very good. So AX, do we have questions left? They are workshops, but they are usually completely sold out. The last time I promoted it at the Be Secure, and the waiting list was twice as long as the seats. So I have to be a little bit cautious with the promotion. What I will do today is old pattern, 1992 BCE design. It is a core of the idea, and this pattern is super simple, but it is by Ivar Jacobsen, built in Ericsson. And I think this is the only pattern where Draw.io and Visio and Mermaid or whatever, all the tools understand the pattern, and there are hundreds of books written about this thing, which is important for today's topic. So this is what I always used and will also use today. And this is off topic. What it just says is Java is 35 times faster than Python, which means if you do, Python, you are wasting energy a little bit. This is very bad for the beautiful Polish environment, for instance. Maybe birds will disappear, or I saw there are different animals here, right? So so this is Java energy consumption. This is JRuby, Ruby, Python, and Perl. So they are one block here, and performance as well here. Nothing to do with today's talk, so we can skip. It's more interesting why I do Java in the clouds, because we save money with Java. This is actually this, but this is not about cloud. And this is interesting one. And what it says is that this is like a study from Tencent. And what it says is that Claude Opus and Sonnet and all the others, that these models are very good understanding Java. And for instance, this is the higher the better. It means I think 78% on average tasks were solved correctly with plain Java. And Python and JavaScript and so forth are 20% worse. So what means is, if you generate code with LLMs, Java code, they understand Java better than other languages. And one of the reasons is, yeah?
The Java compared to Kotlin?
Kotlin could be a little bit better, a little bit better, a little bit worse. So better if plain language, worse if you do some tricks, what I show you in a second. And why is because my impression is, if someone uses Kotlin, they are passionate and would like to implement good code. In Java, it's not always true, right? So lots of getters, setters, indirection or Stack Overflow, whatever. There's bad code who no one knows why it looks like. And Kotlin is harder to find. So the quality is usually a bit better, but there is no platform in Kotlin. This is my second trick. And I ask LLM friends, so what about Kotlin in Java? Because common question, and they say, okay, because Kotlin is missing like a API platform, in a few years, they could catch up. So this was the answer. Basics, very fast. What I will do today is, the main trick from today is just use what the LLMs know. And this seems to be common across all LLMs, like Devstral, Mistral, ChatGPT, and Claude Code. This is what I use. All other models I tend not to use, because if I use something commercially, the best one if possible. Then very quickly, whatever happens today, you have skills and agents and steerings and instructions and rules. And at the end of the day, it is like JSPs in 2008. So you have to understand one thing. There is one API. This is the OpenAI API, which Claude also uses. And this API basically sends a string, an array of messages to the LLM, and the LLM sends back and says, please invoke a method or not. That's all. So don't be confused about agent skills or whatever. We could skip all the agent skills, rules, and whatever, and just hack everything down to a system prompt. You will pay more, but it will work the same. So this is important thing, because developers get confused about all the terminology, and the terminology doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, everything is sent to an LLM. You got me? So system prompt and user prompt is almost the same. So there are some, almost mythical theories, but system prompt has a little bit higher priority. A little bit higher means no one cares, because you can hack with user prompt the system prompt usually if you have enough time. So a system prompt is nicer from design perspective, but it's just user prompt with higher priority. And what is user prompt or system prompt? They are just strings which are sent to LLM. Okay? What is a skill? I will use some skills, and what skills are like lazy loaded system prompts. This is, think about that. So there is a front meta, which is the first 5 lines. And the LLM, like Cloud Code, I will use today a Cloud Code agent because it's the most popular one. And Kiro maybe, it doesn't matter. And what they're doing, they are reading the front meta and send all the front matters, is like, the beginning, the preamble, right? They send everything to the LLM and say, hey, LLM, if you think I can load more. Okay? You got me? You have to interrupt me if it's unclear something. They go faster, because I would like to code soon. So everyone understood so far? Okay. Skill. And agent is like a skill, but this is usually, when it's loaded, eagerly loaded. And there are studies, don't overuse agents, because they are loaded at the beginning and the LLMs are less effective.
But skills have context and agents doesn't.
What is context?
So when you go in the Cloud Code, and you ask them questions.
Agent, Cloud Code ignores completely agents. Ask developers, Anthropic. They say they don't read agents, they ignore them.
No. I mean, agent is when you invoke the agent is run isolated. It doesn't have.
But not agentsmd. Agentsmd is a standard, and you're supposed to put agentsmd, this is a Linux standard, in your repository. And I use agents, but what I tell just the agent, I use Maven and 3 lines, and this is how to build, and this is done. Nothing else, okay? And now the agent and sub-agent, what this is just a microservice. Do we need agents? Yeah, because what agents are, what you said is, with agent, one agent is only one portion of the system prompt of the string and not everything, so it's easier to manage. And agent can be used to parallelize the entire thing. Today I will maybe launch an agent, but it doesn't matter. So don't be confused with agents. And MCP, LLMs ignores, this is the hype, this is the brutal hype right now. What MCP is just a facade which exposes tools to the agent. LLMs don't know anything about MCP. They only know tools. This is important to know. So, and progressive exposure means we only reveal as much as possible to the LLM. Why? To save money and be more precise. This is the only thing. But we could skip everything and load the entire book of our, design decisions every time, and we will waste money, and we will be less precise, but it would work. Agreed? Cool. Brown versus Greenfield. Always start with brownfield. What I tend to do, I have some best practices as a brownfield, because the LLMs learn from patterns and you don't have to prompt that much. So this is a trick. Always start with a template. This is my best practices, and then start coding. Someone asked a question about vibe coding. You will spend 1 hour more than me, because I will launch a project, say, hey, do something, and your LLM from scratch will see, what build system to build. Oh, I have to install it, whatever. And until you're done, I deploy the first component. So it's waste of money. This was the questions regarding vibe coding. Vibe coding is maybe interesting, but it's waste of money and also bad for the environment, right? So maybe not as bad as Python, but yeah. Maybe we don't, we cannot record that anymore. So goals is to explain you why Java is basically rocks. And what I'm also assume that source code matters, because if you think about this, if you really believe in vibe coding, why we need source code? Go and create assembly, right? If you never will look at the source code and you say, I don't care, I will just vibe code everything, so who cares? Then I did it on 1st April last year. It worked. I say, hey, LLM, who cares about source code? Generate bytecode, hello world, and it did. So, but I mean, we are not that far now, right? So assuming source code matters, then best practice matter, because otherwise this is schizophrenic, right? You say, okay, we would like to have source code, but we don't care about the source code. Okay, but if LLM generates source code, you don't understand why we need the source code, right? So it's like, okay. And these are my projects. We have to maintain the projects for months, and years, and not just one shot and forget it. This is important for today. Otherwise, it's pointless what I'm showing you, okay? Okay, so there is no magic. Maybe I start with a little bit with coding, because otherwise it will be boring. So what I will do is, I will clone right now Quarkus microprofile. This project has nothing to do with LLMs, but this is my starting point for everything, and not everything for projects. And the Vaadin guy, no, it's okay. I think you changed my resolution, but it's not your fault. This is so. And what I would like to do is, I would like to clone it. Clone. And it's cloned, so I'm now happy because internet is working, which was a challenge. And you see, so this is the repository, right? So, and what I like to do is, I would like to open Visual Studio Code. The only reason why I'm not using NetBeans still is because I do a lot of web components and stuff, and NetBeans is not good with that. For Java, it's way faster than Visual Studio Code from feeling. So, and of course, maybe this way, Claude. And this is an agent. Claude Code is an agent, terminal agent. Codex will be similar from AI. This is a little bit more interactive. So what is it? The first question? So, and this is actually golden times for juniors, because if you open a project, I would ask as many questions as possible, and you can learn very fast right now. This was a possibility which was not available back then. And it says a Quarkus microprofile project template using BCE, boundary control entity. So understood boundary control entity. It has 2 modules, service, and the end-to-end system tests. So understood the architecture, right? So you can say, okay, cool. And now, what is BCE?
Are you using Opus 1 million on purpose?
It just came to me. This is Opus 4.6 standard. And 1 million came 2 weeks ago. So this is standard. I did nothing. It just happened. And I always use the highest possible model, because you can actually save money with that. Before, you know, noodling with the small one, you can just say once and yeah. And what it's explained now from the weights, what BCE is. And BCE is an pattern for structuring as a force, so it understands already my project, right? It's like, okay, is it helpful? If not, delete it, right? I mean, who cares about... So, exactly, for very simple CRUD, even this is also my opinion with just boundary. What it said is, okay, consist structure, key dependency, right-sized abstraction, package level encapsulation. What BC is about, we have top-level packages, and every package is named after a feature or domain idea. And every such a package comprises 3 other packages: boundary control entity. Entity is the data, control is a little bit more logic, and boundary is the endpoint. In my project right now is JSRs, RESTful, or MCP. I have to say 80% of all projects we are building are also exposed as MCP to be able to be orchestrated as an agent. Question so far was the fastest possible introduction to BCE. Yeah. And now the question is, of course, because does it help you? Does it help you? And it's the answer will be interesting. And I know where to look. So this is the first hint. What I observed is, per accident, if I tell create component birds or snakes, right? So Then it will create the component, and then I say create a Python snake, for instance, right? So what it will do is it will use grep, find, or whatever, and go just to the folder. And I see that it only reads the folder. It means it will only send the contents of the folder to the LLM. It means already there, it's faster, and we will save a significant amount of tokens. Agreed? This trick alone. So what we learned today, LLMs knew about the ancient BCE patterns, and all my projects are created that way. I started actually in 2008, maybe even the old projects back then. It means without any skills, agents, rules, whatever, I'm in. The LLM understands my wording. Questions? You have to at least ask questions, or because it can go also faster. I don't know, right? So what the state of the Java user group Gdańsk is. Okay, so what I created a skill, and I would like to the skills are on my GitHub, and this skill what I'm starting is, I can show you later the rules. It says, for instance, never generate more than 3 unit tests, because LLMs love unit tests. They will generate 20 unit tests for a method. Or never write Java doc for obvious stuff. So this is like not to do skill, and I will load it to see nicer code. But this skill is available on my GitHub. There are maybe 200 lines of rules. So it's not that bad. So, and I can just wait until it loads, or I say microprofile server, load it, this one. And I have another skill, I called it showtime, and I say, this is just a fun what we do here. Don't run the unit tests, end-to-end tests, just generate code, which is faster. I can show you more. When we can switch, then we can turn it off. But for now, I would also like to start the showtime. So I say we are on the Tri-City JUG. Let's have some fun. And showtime. What shall we build? Should we do a snake BC? Maybe, or coffee. A coffee is a good one. So it was no, maybe a coffee. This is recorded, so we have to be polite. Create coffee BC. Now, this is the entire prompt. Create coffee BC. What BC is, this is the business component. This is the feature. Again, there is no plugin, nothing. I just cloned a Quarkus microprofile application based on some standards, and I just use stuff what LLM know. And why they know, I will show you some slides in a second. Okay? So, and why use Quarkus? Because it's the fastest runtime. Quarkus Micronauts are the fastest because we use a lot of stuff in the cloud. We save money with Quarkus Micronauts. So this is why I use Quarkus all the time. Okay, internet is holding strong, which is good. So, and it shows me, it says, okay, coffees, very good, it's plural, and it creates a JSRs component with beans, brew, and of course, hallucinate is a bit because coffee is just, there are no attributes, nothing. What I will do in a real world project, I would at least, this is actually the entire trick, to write more stuff to the README. This is a coffee management system, and Claude will read it. Right now it says this is an empty template. So this is the worst possible situation. Agreed? Yes, and allow all edits, but don't delete my hard disk. So, so we have here now service. We should have coffees component feature with boundary. In the boundary, there should be coffees resource, control, I don't know whether there's logic or not, and the entity, there should be a coffee record. And so we have in boundary coffee's resource, and this coffee is completely wrong. So it says a record. You say, okay, coffee in boundary, just that. The first time I did something like this. And maybe the show time is the problem. Say, okay, it doesn't matter. Yeah, coffee is domain object. It should be, and the first time we did this is strange. Maybe the showtime thing. I never used it actually. Just should actually put it here, and So now it looks right. So coffee. So maybe yeah. Because it's maybe showtime, I never tried it. I said, okay, this would be a cool idea. I did it last week. So because otherwise it would run all the tests and this would be complete agentic loop, which, and this is, I just would like to show you the code. Okay, now we have the JSON object. I said, okay, I would like to use just standard Jakarta, this JSON P. And there is a coffee resource, and this is the entity. And we have a roast, which is espresso, americano, and filter coffee. And we have the coffee. And if you don't like, I mean, this is just the business logic. But what I would like to show you is, so, the quality. So now, what we like to do is create roastery BC. BC business component. And we'll create here another business component, roastery, with that. Questions?
So does it guess what is a roastery? What is a coffee? Or how does it?
Yeah, now it knows what coffee and roastery is, so it guesses. So every time it's something different. But what I will usually do in projects, for instance, I can tell you later. So we provided some context to open specifications, and then it generates perfect stuff. But now it guesses. This is in the weights. It knows what, but every time is something different. But I could say, if you have a brand here, do you have a Polish coffee or a Gdańsk coffee roastery? Because I would tell them if the training run on the website, you get exact results. This is a luck.
Open spec.
Roastery resource. Now it looks better. And this is response roast JSON object, and we have control with roaster, which is an interface entity. What's interesting is it is in serverless mode. I would expect to use CDI. So I can ask, why are you using interfaces and not injected CDI beans? Because what it does right now, maybe found here, it uses what I do in AWS Lambdas. This is the style, and I wanted to show you is with application scope and so forth. So maybe we say apologize, of course, right? So context and dependency injection. This is like the specification, and it was actually created by Spring guys, but then rejected or not. But it was the first one, and okay. So we have the beans, and this will work, but maybe it was too simple. So it says, because I told him, if it's you don't have to inject everything, just create a Java interface, right? So yeah. Okay. So now we say, and where is package info? Because package info, I said, okay, in BCE, what I would like to have. If you write Java doc, I'm only interested in the intent. So why is there, what it happens, and not, if you say nothing, what we'll do, it will list in the package info all the classes, which repeats, the information again. And this is absolutely pointless, right? Okay, and now it says added package info for both PCs. So package info here, coffee catalog, this is actually good. And if we will have, the roastery, he will create, this is the roastery since available since whatever, so additional information. And what we do in projects, we put here as much context and business information as possible, so that if human opens that or an next LLM opens that, they can work with it. So my idea is reduce skills, agents to a minimum, put as much as possible meaning to the Java code. You saw that it understands the entire infrastructure without any prompting, nothing. And then we build, it will work better for humans and for machines, and we will save money. Okay? And I think this is unique in Java. Try other language with 3 words to achieve anything with this consistency. My mistake was the showtime, because now showtime doesn't matter, I generate anything. So this is maybe, I have to review this. But yeah. Okay, now watch this. Create ST for coffees. What ST is? System test. So known by Wikipedia, what will happen is it should create an end-to-end tests in the service ST here. In service ST, it is service, and this is the system test. And not only that, what I expect to happen is in source main Java, it will create an interface which is reusable and is injected in source-Java. Okay.
But interface for coffees?
For coffee endpoint, for the endpoint. This is microprofile REST client interface. So, and this is a coffee resource IT with injected interface. I do this a lot. So far, it never hallucinated. It never invented an annotation. It never invented whatever, or coffee, of course, right? So it can misunderstand what coffee is. But annotations were always consistent. Now we can do this, and it will work. We can introduce, and it works always as it works this way. And what I'm doing here is absolute show, three lines, right? What I can say, the coffee, we have, what is the coffee here actually? Wait a sec. Source, Java, coffee, entity, coffee. And we have just name and strength. But add what flavor maybe? There are several flavors in coffee, right? Like chocolate flavor or what? What? Add taste. Taste profile to coffee. So let's see what happens. It will extend the serialization, will extend the record, right? And it know where to find the coffee because of the structure. And this is not specified in my skill, is not specified in my agent because the pattern is available since 1992. And all the LLMs were so data hungry that they scanned the entire internet. And what I'm doing right now, I'm using technology where the LLMs know, they already know. That's all. And if you would do, YOLO vibe coding, they will pick, something, and the next day version will change, and you get, an Frankenstein from 2 versions in a framework. Okay. Taste profile should be an enum, because Java. Enum, bitter, sweet, fruity, nutty, and smoky. Cool?
Where's sour?
Coffee is always sour.
No, it's Kenyan.
And picture from you, then we upload, we have, let's see what happens. So it's not my fault. I'm just But what I want to show you, if you know the wording, the DSL, it is crazy, right? If I say now, validate, this is validate coffees on input. So this is a more complex logic. It really depends how much it understands. We'll write more. I'm lazy right now. But what I expect to do, it will create and control with a little bit logic and without bin validation, because I said bin validation is overused. Don't use it always because he loves bin validation or it loves bin validation. So let's go ahead. Let's see what happens. And there are different modes. I could say, no, without the showtime, he will ask, what do you mean? But now it just does something to show you. Just watch the code quality. This is actually the task. Javadoc and so forth. And I have to say, stellar. which means with that, we can generate better code than ever before and capture more domain logic than ever before, which is better understandable for humans and for machines. And I don't think there's any technology on Earth with this quality right now. And why? Because on my slides, I will show you a few slides, explain what was the entire trick, what I'm doing here, why it works. Any questions regarding LLMs or whatever? Yeah.
It seems that those instructions don't allow for much deviation. Did you try doing stuff like this with some local LLMs?
Yes. So not local. Okay.
Can you adjust the temperature, for instance?
Adjust the temperature?
Yeah.
I don't think this is Cloud Code here. So I don't know whether I can do this. But it should be possible. Of the room, no, LLM temperature, right? Okay. So coffee resource, where it happened, and I think even in the coffee maybe. Yeah, but interesting, it decided to do this in the coffee, which is good. And the cool story is it used bad request exception, which inherit from web application exception. So we'll see in browser 400. What developer will often do, I see this in every code review, will create illegal state exception and then exception mapper later. So, okay, that's stupid. So I have to say, code quality, I really love it. Agreed, everyone? We can change it. So we can say, so with that, I would say not bad, right? Questions?
So if we're working not for the new project, right, but existing projects in Java, usually we have no BC, we have some kind of internal structure like services, for example, controllers. So could we help and adjust somehow the project file skills to help LLM
Yeah.
understand it better?
I cannot be too specific because, but currently I'm working, we do this actually. We have 25 years old projects, and the trick is following. We can try, maybe I find, we will stop the recording for a second and I will find an old Java, not now, Java user group meeting, which I did, but I have to find it. And this is old Glassfish. And we can load it and I can show what happens. But the trick is, it will work. What works is, what should happen is, you put the microprofile skill to your old project, and then you ask, this is plan mode, Shift Tab is plan mode, and you ask which BCs could be created in which priority. And he will come up with good suggestion. And then I say, what you will do for migration of the first one, and you will see. And this is how you should approach. Don't tell too much, just ask questions. Don't fight the weights. If you say, just migrate the project, it will do something, but you have no idea what happened. Maybe it works or not, right? So the problem is, we are still accountable for the code. I mean, LLM can generate, but we're committing. So if it doesn't work, it's my fault, right? So our clients will not say, no, the passengers in Lufthansa will not say, oh, no problem, if you vibe code, the landing system. I was there to take a taxi from Poznan to Gdańsk, right? This was before LLMs. So, questions?
Can I follow up on the question?
A local LLM.
Yeah.
So I had no time to install the local LLM, but now it's time to show you something else. Let's say not all European companies like US technology, right? So assume. Therefore, there is a French company called Mistral. And what I'm using here is another agent, it's a French one. And the model which is used is Devstral 2. And I tried it with my old laptop. And this laptop was like 4 years old. And it worked, but was slow. And this should work on my laptop right now. And 2 weeks ago, a smaller model came out from Mistral. And it should be even better. 64 gigs. I had 64 gigs and now I have even more, but 64 gigs back then. Yeah. And you can quantize the model. If you quantize the model, you lose the precision, but I would like to have the full one. But what I can do right now, I can use here the French model and you will see how it will behave in local mode. Okay? So what means I have also a subscription for Mistral, so I'm using the Pro subscription, but this model is Apache 2 model I could download on my machine. If you buy a Mac Mini, this is good enough usually. And I could run it in Ollama, but I don't like Ollama. What I will do is, in 3 weeks, Tornado VM will come out, and this model will run hardware accelerated on JVM directly, very fast, on Mac. On Windows it already runs if you have NVIDIA card. Search for Tornado VM, GPU Llama, and you can run a model without any external dependencies. Complete different story. So it's not for today, but Java is also great for model inference. I was at Java 1 last week, sorry. And there was Uber, and they are saving money with LLM inference with Java. Okay, so what is it? The same question. Now on French, guys. So this is the answer from complete different model. What is BCE? Is it helpful? You know this in French. Yeah, this is not as funny as the Americans, but maybe less dangerous sometimes. So I would say. So yes, it's helpful. Maintainability, stability, is useful macro. Okay. Does it help you to generate code? It tells me what to do, what will do exactly the same answer as the other one. It means the DevStral from France and the Opus are trained on the same data. Cool. So it means, to answer your question, we could have, I think, as I tried with my old machine, it was half the speed on my machine. And this was too slow. And I assume with the new model, it would be this or faster. This is my feeling. And I would like to have the full model. Because if I work before it starts hallucinations, I lose the patience. You know, what's the point? I mean, this is a work, so we have to save time. But if it worked this way, I think it's cool, right? So what we can say is we have coffee, roastery. Maybe what we need is, what else? Coffee related something. Create. What component? You are good with this hour. Create. No, the Crema we had, this is Crema is an instance of coffee, right? So we need something roastery. Huh? Package. Create. First. How to call a packaging machine for coffees. I need a name. Name for the BC. Coffee packaging machine. Okay. This is interesting because the naming convention should be lowercase. And it found this. Now it found the skill, the microprofile now. So before it knew everything from the weights. It means there was no skill loaded, there were no agents loaded, nothing was loaded. It means we saved actually money. So it tries to learn from the structure, but it's a completely different model. This is the interesting part. So it means if this will work, we already proved that we can switch model. We are not depending on Opus, we are not depending on whatever, right? Oh, smart packaging, you see? Not packaging machine, lowercase. So good, I like it. And this is good because this guy has now the showtime loaded, so it behaves more reasonable than the other one. And let's see. So what we will get is we get packaging with control packaging machine. There is no boundary. It means there is no endpoint for web services. Now it is, sorry. But it would mean only the roastery can use the packaging, but no one from outside. And we can compare the code, packaging resource, packages. I would say consistent to the code before. And we have the packaged coffee with package type and so forth. Packaged coffee has coffee.
It didn't even got correctly the false amount of coffee. They usually pack it in 250 grams of beans. That's actually true.
Aha. What?
I said, it
200
correct. It was correct. No, I said it's correct.
Is it correct?
Yeah.
Oh, what I said, well done. So this is
Yeah, no, that was a compliment.
we have to be strict. French guys always say, okay.
It's like, at least in Poland.
Okay, very good. So, and created package info now. Component is interesting. The quality of the package info. Okay, you see, there's nothing like, because we have no business logic, but there's nothing like list of Java classes, what usually happens if you have nothing. Cool. So we have Vibe, the Vibe code, I can switch to local model. So I have exactly the same experience as local model. Cloud code, what I do is this is now open, but if I work with client, I can switch to Amazon Bedrock. And from contract perspective, they are not allowed to use the data for training. And by the way, Anthropic also not, it is the same contract, but with AWS is they trust more, which is true. If you run Postgres on AWS, you have the same quality. You also have to trust that no one reads your data, right? I mean, this is a similar story. So you can configure cloud to go to AWS instead to Anthropic. And I use it in Frankfurt. So my model is in Frankfurt.
You can also sign a contract with Anthropic to not use your data.
I don't have to sign. I have the professional subscription, and already in this case, I read it. They won't use the data for training. So, questions? The Mistral $15 a month. The Cloud Code. What I have the highest subscription. The max is $200 a month, but it's the highest. There's also 40 if you have the highest possible. And the what I want is and the for okay what I can do is I can use so, and you see here this uses in Frankfurt my own model, and this is API billing. So if you use it, the more you use it, the more you pay. There is no throttling. If I use it a lot, once I had $80 or something. But I'm not like the cool kid running, 5 agents 24/7. This is what I do, precise prompting and this, because what I try to do is I try to understand the entire generated code. So I just look at the code, cool, go, commit, right? So this is then more cost effective. Now I would like to show you what I actually did, why it works, how it works, and what the entire trick is on some slides, and then we can code, because I would like to show you some documentation, and maybe even continuous testing mode, which is opposite of this what I showed you right now. So slides. There's no magic, but what I did is, what I noticed, client asked me, you do the entire circus with patterns architecture, do we still need it if we have vibe coders? And I thought what he said is like, okay. And then I got somehow the idea to try it out, what I tried out, and it worked better than expected. I said it's impossible, actually. This was last year. And why it works? Because back then, 2008 Java, the session, what we did is, back then Sun Microsystems, they spent a lot of energy to have everything specified in a product neutral way. We used for years specifications like JPA, JSRs, CDI, bin validations, which were meant to be used by various vendors. And is even now the case. This is why I can migrate easily projects from back then Glassfish to Quarkus. My clients think mission impossible, and I look at the code as identical code almost. We have some tweaks. There's no more at stateless, so we replace at stateless with request scope and transactional, and we're done. But the more esoteric framework they use, the worse it gets, That's the difference. And this is an RFC 2119, and this RFC defines must not, should not, and so forth. right? So it defines the meaning, and of course, LLMs love such a thing. They read this and they say, okay, cool, I know what must and must not is, and it will behave this way. Now look, what we use today mostly is the JSRs endpoint, right? Now, this is the JSRs API, and what we see is that it is written with 2119, the entire spec. It means all the Jakarta EE and all the microprofile APIs were written in this way. Why back then? That multiple vendors can plug in the implementation. So we have Hibernate, Eclipse Link, OpenJPA, there were Kodo, and lots of implementations. JSRs, we have Jersey, we have REST Easy, and different, right? No. And this is the, and if you go here to the URI, you get these slides. If you go to the URI, so we actually can't go there. And this is Jakarta or micro profile, I think, IO. So this is open. So we go there, and there is a core profile, I think, core profile, and then the specification. And what we had is Jakarta RESTful Web Services. And then it is open, and this is open as HTML and PDF. So we go HTML, and this is the spec what I showed you. This is exactly this. It means the LLMs just read it. The cool story is all these specs were always backwards compatible. It means cutoff date, I don't care. I don't even care whether they use Jakarta 4 or 5, whatever. It doesn't matter because it didn't change a lot. It's not like they renamed the annotations. Okay? So it means there was no breaking point except once with the package renaming from Jakarta, from Java X to Jakarta. But this is minor thing. You recognize this in a second that it doesn't work. And actually, they used the most modern stuff. So what means is there are actually no hallucinations, but there are no variation. Okay? So now it comes even further. So if you take a look at, so this is the example. And now take a look at OpenLiberty. This is IBM. This is the spec, and this is the implementation of IBM. It means even all products, they're pointing back to the spec. And the LLMs, they crawled the internet, so they go to OpenLiberty, come back to the spec. So everything points back to the spec, right? So, and this is Helidon, the same. JSRs, spec. This is Quarkus, what I use in all my projects, the same. This is the example back to the spec. And now it comes, what I told the LLM, you are only allowed to use APIs, and you are not allowed to use Quarkus, whatever. Right? So what it means is, the LLM now, this is grounding, it only generates the JSR, whatever in Jakarta EE is inside, is in the weights, and there are no variations from the products there. Okay? So now we can try it. We can ask, how hard is it to migrate to Helidon? And this is the Opus now. So we have ST module, okay, one dependency, Quarkus test, Docker files, application properties, and POM XML. No source code affected. But interestingly, this was provided by my brownfield project. It was not generated by the LLM. Right? Actually, in my rule, it says you are not allowed to change POM XML. Ask before you do this. Questions? What? Yeah. AI rates of dev, there are more and more, they're actually skills. And at the beginning, there was nothing. And what I use today is microprofile server. This is the, and this is the front meta. This is what, when it decides when to load. And what I say, use Java 25 with modern syntax, prefer dependencies in this order. Try to search or search in Java SE first. If you don't find the functionality in microprofile in Jakarta EE, what I basically did, I scanned my blog and I say, create the ideas for my blog, create a rule, actually. This is what I do outside. This is really what I did. And I don't know whether you know, I have a blog since then, and it was also scanned by the LLMs, which is funny. Sometimes they suggest my stuff, which is cool actually. But thankfully, the entire time, I always pointed to the standards. And it didn't use any external framework, so there's actually reinforcement. So logging, use Java Lang system logger instead of external dependencies. BCE, so okay, this is the structure. Then package naming, boundary layer, control layer, entity layer, but it was known before I loaded the thing, right? And avoid private visibility, for instance. Avoid getters. So it's more avoid not to do what to do. So because I use it for my projects, and if something was generated extensively, I say don't do this in the past. Okay? So you see, it's more don't do this than do this. Stream in collections, for instance, prefer Java to stream API over loops. So if I would delete it, it would generate code, but I wouldn't like the code. So this would be, that's the difference. KISS and Yagni, this is why I started with interface. Keep it simple and stupid, and you aren't gonna need it. And exceptions, custom exceptions, Javadoc, do not write obvious Javadoc, document the intentions and the why. So you see, it's not like I'm telling what to do rather than what not to do. So this is absolutely optional, actually. Happy with the rules? And at the beginning, it worked without the rules. And with the rules, I get better results with Javadoc and stuff like that. But it's even better. It gets even better because it knows what BC is. I can say create an overview diagram between BCs. And there's a skill, two skills, what I created. I say, okay, I would like to have mermaid diagrams if it's a GitHub project, or Draw.io if it's not GitHub project. That's all actually. And maybe she'll ask what detail usually it asks. And because it knows what BC is, it will draw boxes which represent one BC. There's also packaging I hadn't seen, you see, because it was created by the French guy. So. Since the GitHub project, I will do Mermaid. This is what I tell. For GitHub, do Mermaid because we get between. So it uses the Mermaid skill. It's very short. It just says, for instance, what happens in Mermaid, it didn't use good names for the links. It just invented A, B, C, D. I said, okay, use the actual attributes so it is nicer, human readable. So let's see. Open preview. So we have packaging uses coffee entity coffee, and roastery greetings and health. They are unrelated. Why not? Let's see what happens. And so questions. So what's your opinion? So my opinion is, if you are Java developers with a little bit experience, it's crazy how productive we can be, and we can generate better code than ever before. I don't know whether we call it vibe coding, whatever you call it. But the point is, with a short DSL-like prompts, domain-specific prompts, if you know the wording from back then, it knows all the patterns, everything, we are hyper-productive. And now the question is, why we spend so much time with the quality? So this is important for management. And I'll show you in a second. So, and now it created this diagram with more, this is packaging, uses coffee, it looks like this. Okay. I also spent some time, there is a skill, readme skill. And what I said in the readme skill is everything is my GitHub. If you go to readme skill, just, focus on intentions. Don't tell me that I have 50 classes. I know that what a class is. Just, provide the absolute minimal information. That's the crux, I would say. If you create a skill, you create a skill which avoids stuff because if you say just generate 500,000 classes, it will do it, no problem. Okay, so this is that. And update, this is the README. And it should update to README. This should remain, but this is just generic. You see, this was nothing with coffee. And it will take a look at all the READMEs and update the README, so it should be more useful for developers. So I will mention this is coffee, roastery, or whatever. Did it? Maybe it was of wrong level. A service README. Service README. Business components. Oh, this one. Okay. Document the intentions in README. Make it more usable. Okay. Now it comes. We learned that. I think it is incredible. So we can use, for instance, what is not there, because JPA persistence is outside. Why? Because in the cloud right now, I use DynamoDB or S3. I don't use JPA there. But JDBC is particularly interesting because we have data-oriented programming, we have records, so, and they know it already. So what I will do is 2 more skills, but I need some tasks, because I have no JPA projects, I don't have time for tests. This is the problem. So if I had our JPA project right now, I would immediately write a skill. So if you see the skills, you know what I'm doing, right? So this is, and so then you can say, use JPA or use JDBC, and it will do it, right? So what we maybe get like a skill patterns, because you can stack these skills. For instance, I have one skill overview diagrams, which says focus on the overview. If it's a GitHub project, use this skill. And if this is the other project, use the Draw skill. You know, I think there will be an opportunity for us to have nice skill architecture, whatever we call it, because we would like to reuse things, the colors, you know, how it looks like, and so forth. Now, what happens? Because my prompts are so short, we are saving an incredible amount of money with Java again. Because the LLMs are trained on that, we don't have to send the data back and forth. And now the question is, just go to the French guys first. Vibe here. Review, does BCE help you to save tokens and efforts? And now the next question is, what happens in huge projects? And the interesting part is, with this approach, it scales almost linearly. Imagine I had 200 components, but only one component is coffee with roastery. If I change the roastery, so it will go to this component, and you see the grep and find, it only goes to the component. But if you vibe code an application, I tried that. Once I said, you are not allowed to create packages. Just do everything. So after 20, 30 classes in one package, you had always rescan everything, and everything waters down, because then he has no idea where to put stuff. You know, we get code duplication and so forth. So I think still that the code quality matters for bigger projects, which has to be maintained over time. Okay. So now, how much tokens, inference costs, can we save with, or another thing, I will just copy this. Does micro profile, Jakarta EE, and open standards. The Vaadin stuff are web components. I have the same trick for web. We could have exactly the same presentation about web components, web standards, exactly the same. Because the LLMs are trained on open specifications and the entire web is perfectly specified, they create really good web components, CSS, they know everything. And so that we eliminate all the front-end frameworks in my projects with Vaadin. So we actually use the Vaadin router as web component. If you go to my BCE design, we use Vaadin web component standalone, for instance. Okay? Does microprofile Jakarta EE and open standards help with cost? Just help, not, let's see. Prompt length. So this is now shorter prompts or less token usage. Now, how much costs can we save? Rough estimation for projects, let's say with 50 BCs. 50 packages is a mid-range. So it will be per BC, you have 5 to 10 entities, will be 500 tables at least. Well, more, because we have translation tables, stuff like that, right? I'm glad that the internet is working. Imagine without internet, it would be terrible. So these are the same. So it depends. I did it several times. The lowest were 30% to 80%. And this is a big deal because in German companies, I heard already, don't use the biggest model because it's too expensive. But with that, you can absolutely use the biggest model because it won't load the entire project, only what's needed. Okay, and this is, I think, the biggest deal with standards and Java and LLMs right now, inference cost savings. Someone asked me the question, and if you have an enterprise plan, you can spend thousands of dollars per day if you run multiple agents. Okay, I can ask the same question, the Claude, I get similar answer. So it was always helpful, was never, problematic. So if you go here to the Claude and ask, what was it? Well, lots of questions. There's the machine, and here the BC integration. Okay. Ask this guy. So, and now we have a third agent, Kiro. And this is the same model, Opus. It comes from Amazon or AWS. And what I can do is we did another component, spec, and I can say, now create BC, what? We have roastery, packaging, what else? Coffee marketing. BC, yeah, it uses Opus 4.6. Create BC for coffee marketing, fitting the existing architecture. So, and what this is, spec-driven development, and brownfield project. It was already used by Claude Code, Vibe, and now Kiro on the same, to prove the point that it's absolutely portable. And what will happen right now is it will create a spec, then ask me whether the spec is okay, then create a design, and then tasks. And these are 3 markdown diagrams, markdown files, and this is especially interesting to communication with POs or PMs, for instance. build a feature, submit. Exactly, and it will create this here. And this is some MCP servers, but we don't need them for now.
Is it using OpenSpec?
OpenSpec? No, it uses EARS. This is easy or easy application requirement specification. This is what used. For the, this is the shall must not, this is from Rolls-Royce. It uses EARS spec. Oh. Spec. Yeah, this is the Mr. Alistair, and this is the format, and this is the most, yeah, this is also used by Rolls-Royce, and let's see what happens, requirements. Okay, it is now spec driven, but it will generate almost the same code. This is brownfield, so it will learn from the patterns, but also this model is Opus. And what Kiro does, it manages with the specs and the context better the prompts. So at the end of the day, it will work the same way as the others. Important point, because we would like to be product or IDE or agent independent, right? Okay, questions. So you are very silent. So ask questions. And if we, what I think what will happen, if we still have to know to watch what happens and create some order in the package structure. Why? Because the LLMs learn from patterns. What happened to me once, mistakenly, I don't know why, this LLM, what was it? It put test code in source main Java. So maybe it would even not support classes, not like, you know, the test classes, the support classes. It could work, but if you think about that, what could happen is that the next time this LLM would learn from the pattern, it would think this is a best practice. So I think we were really strict with the best practices, otherwise everything will average out. And then you get, you know, so like a brown mess who no one care about. So I would say the entire cycle is generate quality code, review, improve the skill. So I spend a lot of time with the skill to tell the LLM model what not to do. Since actually every day, since at the beginning, my rules were like 600 lines of Java file, and it was shorter and shorter. So I'm proud to make them shorter and shorter. And the models get better and better, and they understand Java more and more. Okay, ask questions. Yeah.
So in a real project, how far would you take this? Would you stay at the level at defining best practices, guidelines to be, let's say, more productive, to generate entities, repositories, etc.? Or would you also add like domain knowledge?
Yeah.
And how to like think about those two things?
Yeah, I would add absolute domain knowledge. What we can already, for instance, yeah, here's the spec. It says, okay, the coffee marketing business component provides marketing campaign management, and so it says the glossary, what it is, user story, and we just can say continue, generate. And you see this is the EARS format, this is a shall and so forth, this is there. And the design, we see a little bit more code. So let's do the work here. So we have 3 agents running right now. And here, I can say what we can do. What I thought is what LLMs love, type safety. What I also love is annotations. We have the annotations, this is why it works. So they know the meaning of path. If they see path, they can ask, are annotations helpful? For instance, JSRs, helpful for your understanding of the code. And it comes with examples from the API. Why? Because in the API, they are defined in the RFC 1119 way, which is very strict. This is what LLMs love. Now, we can do the same trick for business logic, right? we can, for instance, invent an annotation, mandatory or not mandatory, if we build plugin system. Now the question, what to annotate? Why not package info? So we could put business or semantic annotation. It was not yellow. I disabled everything. Maybe LLMs break out, you know, my agent is too aggressive. Why not to annotate package info, for instance? You can, okay. And what will happen if you ask them, it's like a very good idea. So I would absolutely do the following. Write a spec, very short spec, or write the spec by LLM. Let's say, I would like what need for coffees, like business annotations, like decaf or not decaf or something like this, right? So it doesn't make any sense, but something like this. And then put this on annotation, the entire specification, and leave it in the project. So if this is in the source code, they will read it. External dependency is not a good idea, because what the LLMs will do, the agents, they will decompile. You will see with Java P, they will try to decompile it and learn from the dependency. So it will be absolutely helpful. And this is, as from my perspective, the next wave. So we can add additional meaning, which was not worth before, like the package info. I really like the package info, but sometimes I was too lazy to write the package info. But now I let the LLMs write it and just tweak it. This is great.
Yeah, so kind of like the ubiquitous language.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And I think great time with Java because it's type safe. Very good question. Other questions? The Python guy try, to sabotage the show. I have 4 mics at the beginning. Right now, everything is moving, and I'm just waiting for the waterfall behind me. But still, Java is great. Regardless what happens, I will stay here and show you my code. Right?